flat seats and we and have to pose our whole arm under the mattress to make the bed correctly. I was assigned to do light duty, folding linen and towels, and cleaning shower curtains, which require me to use my injured arm and hands. I did not recover. When I went back to my regular work to make the beds, I would use my knee and left arm to lift the mattress to take on the seats. On January 9, 2011, I injured my left hand arm when making the bed. I have been receiving medical treatment for my left arm now. I used to work with both arms and hands, but now I have lost the full use of both my arms. I feel the pain from my right shoulder to my fingers. I cannot fully use my right arm and now my left arm. Every night I wake up from the pain and cannot go back to sleep 2 hours. If I hold a mug with my right arm, I spill my coffee. When I take a bath, I cannot reach up to fully wash my hair. Everything I do now takes much longer, and I am constantly aware of the injury. If we work with pitted seats and Hyatt, the work would be better. Pitted seat reduce the number of time we must bend and lift up the 100-pound pillow top mattresses to tightly tuck each corner of the bed. Many of my coworkers with injuries. Some of my coworkers suffer from pain from the shoulder down to their wrists and fingers. Many of my coworkers clean in their knees, then up, down on the hard floor, cause bruises and pain. Some have bruises that covered their knees and their knees look black and swollen. If we all had chance to use long-handled tools to clean the bathroom, I think my coworkers could protect their knees better. I am sharing my experience of workplace injury because I am not the only housekeeper who suffered these injuries. We all deserve a safe workplace. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your next witness in support. Let us move the mic.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Good afternoon, Assembly members. My name is Teresita Kane. I am a housekeeper at the downtown Los Angeles Marriott Hotel. I worked there for 25 years. I love my job. I make the guests feel at home. We do a hard work that makes the hotel feel comfortable and pretty. I especially like when the guests come back and they look and they find me by my name, you know. But let me be clear, housekeeping work is not easy. It's a toll on our body. We leave hard, we work hard sometimes, and we leave exhausted. Bengue is one of our favorite perfumes. However, it's a difference between tired and being injured and in pain. There are simple things that the hotel can do to make our jobs easier, as preventing housekeepers' injury. In my hotel, for example, we have swifters and long-handled mops to clean the bathroom floors. We have long-handled dusters to reach the mirrors. I do not climb on the sink to clean the mirrors. I do not go down on my knees to scrub the floors like many other housekeepers do. We have fitted sheets. Everybody in our hotel loves the fitted sheets. All you have to do is bend a little and snap the elastic in the corner of the bed. The way we make the bed does not require heavy lifting the mattress. The mattress weighs about 100 pounds. The way we do it, we do not have to use our whole body to lift the mattress. When I say lifting the mattress, I mean by pulling the mattress completely so that we can tuck the flat sheet, in the back. The fitted sheet is different. The fitted sheet, you just move the bed a little bit on the corner and you snap it. On the flat sheet, you have to completely bring that mattress that weighs 100 pounds and tuck the top sheet so it stays fit. If not, it's going to be wrinkled up when the guest goes to sleep. And we have to tuck all the four corners and the bottom part too. Okay. And when the guests come and sleep with the fitted sheet, they love it and they make them sleep comfortable. And we also do love the fitted sheets. Okay. But the hotel did not give us fitted sheets. We used to have flat sheets before, but when they changed the mattress, a lot of us complained, and we told our manager we needed fitted sheets. We repeated over and over again. Finally, they agreed. About a month ago, a housekeeper from the Hyatt, where they have fitted sheets, where they have flat sheets, came into my hotel for a radio interview about this law. For the reporter, I demonstrated how we make the bed with fitted sheets, and she explained how they have to tuck king-size flat sheets into the queen-size bed. She showed how they lift the mattress and slide their hands and arms under to tuck the flat sheets. She explained how it hurts her wrists, her hands, and her shoulders. It seems so silly. Why don't the hotels have fitted sheets, long-handled tools, so we can do our job with dignity? Housekeepers shouldn't have to go on hands and knees to clean the floors. I did not come here today for me. I came here for my sisters in housekeeping. We have endured agonizing injuries from this work. They call us the heart of the hotel. The heart of the hotel. But management and guests do not see or feel the pain housekeepers endure. Assembly members, you have the power to stand for us today. This is a small change for the hotel, but this will last a long impact on our life. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much, and support.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mike Carroll with the California Applicant Attorneys Association. And normally when the California applicant attorneys are in committee, we're going to be talking about workers' compensation issues. And we're going to be talking about benefits and temporary disability and medical care. But this past fall, we began to hear about this issue related to the housekeepers. And we had a large meeting in November with a number of our applicant attorneys. And when they heard about these stories and about the studies and the research that was coming out about the propensity of injuries that was occurring with these workers, we felt like we had to take a moral stand. We had to step up and be the sponsors and the supporters of legislation to actually do the prevention that needs to happen before we get to the workers' compensation system. Because these workers are suffering the second highest level of injury of anybody in the service industry right now. Our attorneys in the field tell us that they see injuries from people, from the workers, where they have to stand up on the tub and try to reach high corners, you know, with a little stick or something with their hand, with the mop, the thing, they fall. They fall backwards. They hurt themselves. They hurt their shoulders. These kind of injuries are completely preventable. And we need to take those steps as a legislature now to begin to address those, to say that we're going to take measures to make sure that we don't have people who have injured shoulders, who have knees so bad that they look like NFL players, as Senator De Leon suggested. These are the kind of severe injuries that we see in these workers, and these are the kind of injuries that we simply must prevent. And that's why we're sponsoring SB 432, and we strongly encourage the committee to vote it out today. Thank you very much.
Okay, and support.
Richie Ross, representing Maria Elena Durazo from the Los Angeles Labor Federation. And we'd just like to point out to you, since we've heard the opposition before, would like you to begin thinking that the opposition will appear today are the same people who will always argue that we should let the free market decide what's best in our country. I would challenge them and challenge you to think about this. You can't go to a store in America and buy a set of sheets for your bed and get 2 flat sheets. So the hotel industry that insists that they need to continue to use 2 flat sheets for the beds, they are the exception to what is the reality in the American marketplace. Every hospital sheet is a fitted sheet. Every sheet on every one of our own beds is a fitted sheet. And yet they somehow suggest that this imposition, that this requirement is going to cost them. They won't tell you that is the standard in the hotel industry is to buy a set of sheets for every room every year. So long before you'll pass a bill, hopefully, it'll become law in January. The safety board will begin doing its work as required under the bill, and they have plenty of time to purchase the sheets in the normal course of business, because they will all be buying a set of sheets for every room in every hotel sometime in the next 12 months, long before this bill takes effect. Thank you.
Okay. And support.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, members, Barry Broad on behalf of the Teamsters. Kind of think this is a no-brainer. The industry should have figured out how to do this themselves. This is not an expensive investment. It's in the course of what they do. Replacing a short handle with a long handle isn't it's a de minimis expense. This is not a big burden, and they're going to get paid back by fewer injuries. And one thing we do know is that once workers enter the workers' compensation system, the only good result is if they get back to work. That all the other results in which they are injured, whether they get compensation, cost them in pain and suffering and cost society. So this is something that that I would think that the industry should come up and say, we're doing this. You guys are right. We're doing this. We should have done this a long time ago. Shame on us, but we get the point. So we urge an aye vote. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Broad, and support your name and.
Elena Perez with the California National Organization for Women, and on behalf of the many women who are hotel workers, we are in support of this bill.
Okay, name and support.
I'm Wilma Angeles, working at the Double Tree Hotel as a room attendant. I support the bills.
Thank you.
My name is Alma Sendejas. I work in housekeeping. I stay in San Jose, Double Tree. I support.
Thank you. Support.
My name is Olivia Porras. I work in the Holiday Inn de San Francisco, housekeeper, and I support.
Thank you.
My name is Fabiola Benavides. I work in the Westin Hotel in San Francisco, and I support the bill.
Thank you.
My name is Antonia Cortez. I work for the Grand Hyatt San Francisco, and I support.
All right. Thank you.
My name is Jenny Amaya. I work at the Sheraton Grand Hotel, and I support this bill.
My name is Lam Chak. I work in Sacramento Hotel, Sheraton. Support this bill.
All right.
My name is Anada Happiness. I'm working in Radisson Hotel in Sacramento for 22 years. I support this bill. Thank you.
My name is Marion Betts. I work for Unite Here Local 49. I also work at the Sacramento Convention Center, and I support this.
Yeah.
My name is Chitna Chang. I work in San Francisco Holiday Inn Express. I work as housekeeping. I support this.
Thank you.
Mitch Seaman, California Labor Federation, also in support.
Thank you.
Mary Weiberg, Commission on the Status of Women, also in strong support of this bill.
Okay. Anyone else in support? Opposition? Those in opposition, please join us at the table.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Senator De Leon. My name is Randy Knott, and I represent the California Hotel and Lodging Association. We represent about 1,500 properties representing just shy of 200,000 rooms in the state of California. We're the largest statewide hotel association in the United States. And frankly, it's in our interest as an industry, as well as human beings, to be concerned about injuries to workers. It just simply makes good business sense, if we're going to take it down to that level, to have an injury-free workplace to the best of our ability. Reducing workers' comp, reducing absenteeism is a primary business concern. If we frankly believed that part of these measures were going to do that, we would have been doing them already. As a matter of practice, I think it's important to explain that we provide training to our housekeepers. We provide them with ergonomic tools for the most part, most properties. As a national organization, the American Hotel and Lodging Association provides training via video, via websites, and at various properties to housekeeping in ergonomics to prevent injuries to the best of anyone's ability at a workplace. Also, a point of clarification. It's been stated by the proponents of the bill several times at hearings as well as in the media that housekeepers are expected to clean 20 to 30 rooms a day. Unfortunately, this is misinformation. The average in both union and non-union hotels is 12 to 16 rooms a day. Obviously, when folks check out, there needs to be a deeper clean. There certainly needs to be a bed change, a changing of the sheets. They're going to go closer to the 12 number. As more folks opt out of housekeeping, you're going to be at the higher end, but that is the general standard. In addition, we provide many of our members with ergo sticks. That is a pole and, frankly, a long-handled tool that can be screwed into many different implements, be it a Swiffer or a mop, that they can help reach the draperies, ceiling fans, other implements in the room that are high up. They certainly can be used to the floor. But more importantly, we want to thank the author for the amendment that he did, which we are completely in favor of, and that would require hotels to provide those to housekeepers, yet doesn't require them to use them. We have to leave workers some discretion in the way they perform their duties and assume in some cases that they know best. They've been doing this for 25 years, as you heard from the proponents. Also, importantly, over the last 5 years, the lodging industry has been involved with green lodging. We have reduced the number of sheets and towels we change by 50 to 70%. Not only has that saved millions of gallons of water, as well as detergent going into our oceans, but it has also somewhat reduced the burden on our housekeepers. USA Today had a poll come out today. The most important things to hotel guests is cleanliness. I know folks think they're invisible, but not to our industry. We already knew that. We knew that housekeepers are key to that, and they are an important part of our workforce and far from invisible as far as we're concerned. Invisibility on the part of the guests, the number one injury is slip and falls in the bathroom from guests leaving wet floors and leaving tripping hazards on their floors. So we, as people who visit hotels, can certainly take that into consideration. Here's the problem. There is a lack of valid scientific data for the request for fitted sheets. Our coalition asserts, as you've heard several times this afternoon, that the bill is very well intentioned. We would like workers to have the least possible injuries that they can. The proponents claim, however, that switching to fitted sheets, and I quote, would significantly reduce injuries. However, there is no scientific evidence to support this claim. In fact, the report that the legislation is based on does not mention the word fitted sheets once in the report. It does say that there's a higher injury rate. That is certainly something we need to look into. But there is absolutely no mention of fitted sheets. Further, the data in the study was provided by the proponents, Unite Here. 3 of the 9 authors were Unite Here employees. There can be some presumption of bias in the study, but again, more importantly, no scientific data to support fitted sheets. In fact, Lee Shelton told the Daily Caller the other day, and this is a direct quote, that the high injury rate from that study isn't directly related to bedsheet changing. So if it's not, let's get together and figure out what is and find the right solution. Right now, the solution that's being proposed will cost the industry between $30 and $50 million. A little bit of history. Why do most properties, and again, not all, the Marriott does have a brand standard of fitted sheets, most properties use flat sheets. They last longer. The elastic, frankly, does not wear out. They are less expensive to wash because, frankly, you have to be careful because the elastic wears out. Unlike our homes, these sheets get washed many, many more times. Importantly, you don't need to figure out which size bed they fit. They can be used on doubles, queens, kings, etc. As well as what you do is they can be pressed by machine, they can be folded by machine. Fitted sheets cannot. They will have to be pressed and folded by workers, so you're shifting a presumed burden from housekeepers to laundry workers, whether they're on site or they are in rental facilities. A lot of properties also happen to rent their sheets. Also, the proponents claim that with fitted sheets, the housekeepers will no longer have to lift these heavy mattresses. Let's stop a moment and think about what we do at home. We put each of the 4 corners on, and then we put on a top sheet. And until somebody invents a fitted top sheet, you cannot avoid still tucking. What we do in the industry is take 2 sheets, they're laid out at once, and they are tucked at the same time. If we have now 4 corners plus a top sheet, we're actually adding a step, or technically 4 steps, to their burden. In closing, there is no scientific evidence to prove that fitted sheets will reduce injuries. What we can prove is that at 5 sheets per bed in 550,000 hotel rooms, many of which have more than 1 bed, we are looking at a cost of sheets and capital laundry equipment conservatively between $30 and $50 million, and it's the least thing this economy can afford at the moment.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Statement in support.
Very briefly, Mr. Chair, Mike Belote for the California Lodging Industry Association. Our association primarily represents independent owner-operator lodging proprietors in California. Obviously, we're not going to debate the value of housekeepers. As employers, we need and care about our housekeepers. As a frequent hotel guest, I recognize that they do things that must be, in many cases, unspeakable, and we all value what they do. But I represent an association that has listened, has been through the flat sheet versus fitted sheet debate, and they say in many cases the employees have preferred the flat sheet. I also listened to the debate, or participated in the debate in the Senate that Senator De Leon participated in, and we heard experts on both sides of the debate. So, yes, you've heard from housekeepers who say fitted sheets would make their life and job easier, but my clients tell me that they have housekeepers who feel the converse. It would be my suggestion, and this is our position on the bill, we have no objection to the long-handled tool availability as long as has been said, there wasn't a requirement for use because you can't always control how the employees use the tools. But as to the sheets, we would suggest that it be referred to Cal OSHA. You have a body that is designed to evaluate these questions. You don't normally answer these questions in statute. You have a regulatory process, and we're willing to put our arguments and the pros and cons in front of the experts and let them decide. We think it's probably not the right approach to start going down through the California codes and making industry by industry safety statutes. We are not making a free market argument, as Mr. Ross has suggested. We are making more a governmental process argument, that you have a Cal OSHA standards board. They are the ones that ought to be looking at this and listening to the debates on both sides and making a determination. If the bill moves forward today, we commit to working with the senator to try to come to some accommodation. But at this point, we believe that it's a Cal OSHA question on which Experts have differed on which perhaps the science differs, and let them make the determination. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Support.
John Caldwell on behalf of the American Resort Development Association. There's two issues in the bill. One is the
opposition. You're in opposition.
Opposition. Yes. There's two issues in the bill. One is the long-handled tools. There's no problem there because the author is taking an amendment that he committed to on the Senate floor. There's no opposition to that part of the bill. The only issue before this committee is the fitted sheets. And the question is, do fitted sheets reduce injuries? That's what we're being told. If you put fitted sheets in, the injuries will be reduced. There's no study anywhere that indicates that. The study that was given to the committee doesn't like the Hotel Association pointed out, doesn't even mention the word fitted sheets. We've looked all over, and there's nothing at all to indicate it, and it's because there's a certain amount of work is involved with both whether fitted or flat sheets. So if we're going to ask the hotel industry and bed and breakfasts to spend $30 to $50 million to reduce injuries, we ought to at least make sure they will reduce injuries.
Good. Well, thank you very much. And any questions from the members?
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry. I know I've already testified. I was asked to say that I was also speaking for the California Travel Industry Association, and I forgot to say that. So
okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Is there another statement in opposition? Okay.
Marty Fisher, representing the California Chamber of Commerce. And I first of all, I'd like to point out that the Chamber has always been concerned with employee safety. Our members are very concerned about it. And as you may recall, Chairman Swanson, we worked long and hard to craft consensus on AB 2774 last year, and that went to employee safety. First of all, there will be costs associated with switching all of the sheets over to fitted sheets, and that's in the equipment primarily. And the variance provision that's been put into the amendments, a variance at Cal OSHA takes 6 months or more to get, and it's employer specific. So each employer would have to get a different new variance, regardless of whether they're applying for the same safety practices. And lastly, I'd just like to point out that we are anxious and willing to work with the Senator and discuss amendments to the bill where we can find the appropriate way to address worker safety in the hotel and lodging industry.
Okay, yes. And are you in opposition?
Yes. Brenda Carrion. I'm a 22-year hotel employee and work for the Hyatt Regency Sacramento, and we are strongly opposed to this. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, questions? Member Allen.
Well, it doesn't seem to be debated that this particular industry has a very high level of injuries. And so one thing that was in the testimony, and I don't care who comes up to talk about this, was the fact that hospitals have gone to fitted sheets. I'm curious about that. I'm also curious about the fact that I've gone to my share of nice hotels and over the years, and a lot of them have gone to luxury kind of mattresses that are much heavier than what used to be used in the old days. So I guess another question I have for you is that I know in hospitals they have lift teams. I know that certain places have machinery to allow for lifting. I understand that one thing my own staff asked me is where's the scientific literature regarding this. So I do understand that. I also am somebody who basically worked at the very beginning when VDTs and video display monitors came in. And there was a whole argument about whether there should be ergonomics or not because there was no scientific evidence until some was developed. But I think the main thing that the author is trying to do is prevent injuries in a field where everyone's in agreement there's a lot of injuries. And so I don't hear that being debated. So I just wanted to hear more thoughts about how we can make it safer for workers and whether it really is just about fitted sheets versus flat sheets.
Thank you for the question. I know you have quite a few hotels and lodging in your district, so this is near and dear. There's general agreement just on the commonsensical portion of the long-handled tools. It just makes more sense. In some cases, we need some discretion, and that's something that's been completely addressed. I, too, am not an ergonomics expert, nor am I a preventative injury medical doctor. Our contention is, I don't want to be back here in 5 years when this body says, you know what, fitted sheets are really bad from the pulling, because the sheets will shrink and the elastic will shrink, that we're getting injuries from pulling the sheets and now we want flat sheets. Would it not make more sense to either take Mr. Belot's suggestion that we let Cal OSHA do what it's regulatorily supposed to do and look at the actual dynamics, have a study done, and then come back? I mean, we've come to agreement on the tools. We don't want to make this kind of investment without some sort of assurance that it's going to do what the proponents say it's going to do, and unfortunately there's no evidence that it will. So that's really where we're at, because frankly the $50 million that we're looking at is a drop in the bucket compared to the reduction in workers' comp costs. If we can find a way to reduce those injuries and we can find a way to fund that in the long run, it will be better for business if we're strictly going to look at it from a business standpoint versus just the humane fact that you want healthy, happy employees. So that's where we're coming from.
Okay. Vice Chairman Rao. Question?
Yes. If DOSH is going to have to enforce these laws with existing, oversight in the existing money and budgets that we have, where do you see those resources? Will they be affecting and taken away from another area? Maybe, heat stroke or heat illness within to either one of you, because resources are limited right now, and this is going to be another enforcement. So will one giveth and will the other one taketh away?
I don't think so, Mr. Vice Chair. I think the folks who are inspecting and doing their jobs in the hotels, it's part of their job description. This is not a question of taking from Peter to pay from Paul, especially given today's economic climate and with the severe budget cuts we have all collectively been a part of. So it is not a question there's going to be a lack of enforcement, or if we move resources over here to beef up enforcement and ensure that folks, in fact, are following the new rules and regulations. Hotel inspectors who do their jobs, it will be part of their criteria. There's no added budget to check for fitted sheets or to check, if you will, if they have long-handed tools or extensions, if you will, to screw on for the housekeeper. So it is my estimation that there is no added cost to it, or we're not taking from Peter to pay Paul at the same time. So there's not going to be a lack of quality issue, or we're burdening the inspector, if you will, with even more responsibilities. When you're inspecting a hotel room and you're inside that hotel room, you walk 5 steps and they either have a fitted sheet or they don't have a fitted sheet. It's just that simple.
Do you see the same?
I see plenty of trial attorneys doing that for us. That's what I frankly see. There's 550,000 hotel rooms, and I see this as a tremendous opportunity. I don't in any way debate what the senator said. I believe it'll be through normal enforcement, but I also believe there'll be plenty of folks who would like to volunteer to look in the beds and see what kind of sheets we have and see an opportunity there, frankly, for business.
But listen, I don't represent the trial attorneys. You know, the trial attorneys, at least is my understanding, they're not taking a position on this measure. But again, I find it highly doubtful and quite unusual, if you will, that a trial attorney with a magnifying glass will be walking into a hotel room and inspect if they have a fitted sheet. That's what the inspector's job is. They are there to inspect, and either a hotel has a fitted sheet or it doesn't. It's black and white. There's nothing ambiguous or vague about that.
Okay.
Just one last comment. I appreciate your comments. Gave me food for thought. But not to debate you, but just in industries like the building industry and so many other things, yes, they do walk into places and look for opportunities to sue. It's their gig. It's what they do.
I can appreciate a comment. My comment was specific to the hotel rooms vis-a-vis the fitted sheets. Yeah.
Okay, Mr.
Well, can I just, as long as we're doing red herrings, there's just no private right of action to enforce OSHA standards.
Okay.
OSHA standards are enforced by OSHA. They're not enforced by trial attorneys. They can't bring a right of action. They don't do that.
Okay, Ms. Frutani.
The coming to the solution around the long handle and whether they use it or not use it, leaving that up to the employee in terms of how they do their cleaning. What scientific study did you guys have that said that that made sense?
Is that addressed to... We frankly don't have one. We're just, number one, if we believe that it's something we already do, and for those who don't, it's probably something we should. So to us, it was, sure, why not? In the majority of properties that we represent, those are available. In the few places that they're not, they should be. There is no scientific study, but as a mom and a wife and someone who's cleaned stuff, long-handled tools are easier for me in certain circumstances. When I clean behind the toilet, I bang the pole into the glass. I got a small bathroom. I can live with that. But in this sense, we thought it was appropriate, and the author was happy to do it.
That is something I'm just wondering relative to the fitted sheet. You're asking for a scientific determination, and I'm not someone that works in a hotel like everybody else. We've been in hotels. I do make my bed, and I've made it for a long time. The fitted sheet, to me, has been a scientific discovery that has been pretty amazing. I mean, I know how to make a hospital corner, with my sheets and the bed and everything. So I'm just, it just seems common sense wise, just like with the longer pole, the fitted sheet. Now, I understand the financial argument.
Oh, it's beyond the financial argument.
No, I recognize that. I'm just saying I understand that part of it. That is a concern. It would be a concern.
Yeah,
I just thinking in terms of the issue of science and a study, I think the conclusion you reached around the long-handled tool, just like years ago when we eliminated the short-handled hose, for farm workers. I'm just wondering, in terms of this issue of the fitted sheet, it just seems common sense to me that it may be an advancement.
I appreciate that view. At the same time, we have to talk for a minute in terms of why there's a history of the hotels using flat sheets. Several reasons. Again, they do last longer. The other thing is that the standard is to put the 2 sheets on at once and tuck once. If you start using a fitted sheet like we do at home, you're tucking all 4 corners, and you're presuming they haven't shrunk and you don't have that extra pulling. I've got a California King with a pillow top, and I scream for my husband every time because as soon as I pull, it pops off the other end. Hopefully the hotels will be affording more expensive sheets than I use in my home. But at the same time, then I still have my flat sheet, and I'm still tucking. So I guess my question back was, how could we scientifically prove that tucking one top sheet, which is on top of a fitted sheet, is less burdensome somehow than tucking 2 flat sheets at once? The industry has no consensus on this issue. There are brands that believe that fitted is better. There are brands that believe that flat is better. And they have gone back and forth over the years to decide. The main difference, at least in the higher-end hotels, is we don't iron our sheets at home. At least I certainly don't. And we don't fold them by machine, nor do we have to store hundreds, if not thousands of sheets on site. And if you fold a fitted sheet, you have to admit that it is much larger to store. And they have to be matched, because we don't change 16 to 25 beds a day in rooms. They have to be matched with the right size. So as a guest, it might be easier because when you kick out, when you're a guest in a hotel room, I don't know if you've noticed, you kick out and all your sheets come out. That's because they're tucked at once for the ergonomic benefit of the housekeepers. As far as a guest, when I pull out, it's kind of annoying that they come out. What are you going to do? Fitted sheets are sometimes easier for guests, but that's not our number one concern. But we have found out that as far as the brands that do go with fitted sheets, it's mostly a market trend rather than an ergonomic one because there's no proof.
All this talk of sheets make me sleepy here. So. Hold on.
Me too.
Now, let me just see if there's other questions from members. Ms. Yamal, do you have a question?
Well, no, I was just going to say I'm surprised that the Flat Sheet Manufacturers Association of America is not here to oppose this bill. No, I just think this is a common sense approach to, reducing the potential for workforce injuries. I think we just look at our own experiences at home, and I actually can't believe we're having this extensive a discussion about this part, about flat versus fitted. But, you know, I am pleased to support this bill today. And, you know, to the issue of cost of replacement, did I not hear earlier that is it standard industry practice to replace sheets per room once a year?
That's not to my knowledge.
Okay.
It is not. My understanding is they have to keep that in general industry practice is to have 5 sets of sheets for each bed in each hotel. So that is the replacement level at which it has to be done, and that doesn't take into account the laundry equipment.
All right, and let me just, okay.
I was just going to say that, you know, if you know that, then at the next opportunity, since this bill says 2012, I don't know if it's, you know, that it has to go into effect or the sheets have to be replaced by 2012. But, you know, at the next opportunity to replace might be.
Yeah, I'm convinced that we've had a thorough discussion of this.
And I'm happy to move the bill.
And the bill's been moved.
Second.
And the bill been properly seconded. This is all about worker safety. You know, it's the bottom line on this. And so, however you, the senator has said he stays open for some more discussions about how to address this question. I'm satisfied with that. Would you like to make any closing comment, Senator?
Thank you, Mr. Chair Swanson, and I appreciate your leadership on this issue. I will continue to work with the hotel industry. Given today's economic crisis, I want to make sure that every hotel room, whether it's a mom-and-pop hotel down the 99 Highway or a luxurious hotel somewhere down the California coast, whether it be in Carmel or Monterey, that hotel be occupied. Because if they're occupied, that means these women have jobs. It means that these women can pay their mortgage or their rent. It means that we have more revenues coming in the state of California. Ultimately, first and foremost, this is about the safety about these women. And again, I want to underscore the high rates, torn rotator cuffs, sciatica, broken backs. Believe it or not, when you disaggregate the data, they have the highest rate of injury. And then again, and I do appreciate the comments from the opposition. I think we worked well with regards to the one amendment and the variance. There's a little opposition or disagreement with regards to the length of time it takes for a variance to be reviewed and approved or disapproved. I think is a lot shorter. But nonetheless, we're going to continue to work hard. Scientific data, I know that times scientific data is required, but when men and women were out there, backs stooped, picking for strawberries and lettuce, we had no scientific data at that time that showed clearly that short-handled tools were breaking and debilitating these men and women's backs. When it came to heat stroke and heat exhaustion, and people just recently, just a few years ago, not 1950s or 60s or 70s, just a few years ago, in this new millennium, we've had people who've died in the fields in Central Valley here in California. We didn't have the scientific data that showed to us clearly what temperature it needed to be during how many hours during the day at what peak time. So I appreciate your indulgence, Mr. Chair, and your patience during the course of this debate, and I respectfully ask for my colleagues both on the Republican side as well as the Democratic side for an aye vote.
Okay. I support the bill today. I think that there have been a lot of studies in other industries about what reaching, lifting, and tucking will do in these different professions. I mean, you line them up and examine them, and there's always some potential danger too much of this sort of repeated action. And so I think with that, I'm encouraged that the Senator would like to continue the discussions. I think it's important to do, and see what agreements can be reached. But with that, I would ask for you to call a roll.
Swanson.
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel. Morel, no. Alejo. Allen. Allen, aye. Furtani. Furtani, aye. Beth Gaines. No. Beth Gaines, no. Yamada. Aye. Yamada, aye. That bill is out.
Okay, that bill is out. The bill is out.
Yeah, thank you,
Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Miss, we have Senator Evans is being represented by staff. Okay, hi. Please introduce yourself, and we've given permission for you to be senator for a day.
Yes, well, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Thank you for allowing me to present on behalf of Senator Evans today. SB 299 is a measure to ensure that women do not lose their health insurance coverage while on maternity leave by requiring their employers to continue coverage. There's no opposition to the bill, and we have sponsors and supporters here to testify on behalf of the bill.
Okay. In support of the bill?
Go ahead, Manali.
Good afternoon, committee members. My name is Manali Sheth, and I'm a staff attorney at Equal Rights Advocates, also known as ERA. ERA is a nonprofit legal organization based in San Francisco, California, that was founded in 1974 to advocate on behalf of girls and women who are seeking equality in education and the workplace. We have successfully done so through impact litigation, advocacy, public education, and the free advice and counseling of women nationwide. ERA is co-sponsoring SB 299 with the California Commission on the Status of Women. We would like to thank the committee for presenting us with this opportunity to provide testimony on SB 299. California's Pregnancy Disability Leave Act guarantees workers unpaid job-protected leave for up to 4 months for a pregnancy-related condition. While the PDL generally provides greater rights to new and expectant mothers, it falls short of California's other leave laws in one critical respect: health insurance coverage. SB 299 would cure this shortfall. Other federal and state leave laws require employers to continue health care for employees on leave. For instance, individuals covered under the Federal Family and Medical Leave Act, also known as FEMLA, have a right to the continuation of group health insurance coverage. However, the FEMLA has strict eligibility requirements, and only approximately 50% of the workforce is included. Those covered under the California Family Rights Act, also known as CFRA, are also guaranteed the continuation of health benefits during leave, but CFRA excludes leave for pregnancy-related conditions. Contrary to these laws, continued health care coverage is not required by the PDL currently. This gap in health care coverage under the PDL discourages and prevents women who are not covered by other leave laws from taking pregnancy leave despite their health needs and the needs of their baby. When forced to pay out-of-pocket costs for health care coverage, many women will delay or cut short their leave despite well-documented benefits to mother and child. SB 299 will amend the PDL to guarantee the continuation of an employer-provided health insurance coverage for women on pregnancy disability leave so that they are no longer forced to confront the Hobson's choice of staying at work while disabled or taking leave without health insurance. Because ERA has an advice and counseling hotline, we have been able to track the adverse impact that the lack of maternity coverage assurance has had on workers on leave under the PDL. For instance, we recently received a call on our hotline from a working woman in the Bay Area who was disabled by pregnancy and struggled after taking pregnancy disability leave because her employer refused to provide her health insurance coverage during this time. She had a high-risk pregnancy, but she didn't qualify for FEMLA leave because she hadn't worked at the job for a year or for a minimum of 1,250 hours yet. At the time that this woman's health care coverage was cut, her family was living paycheck to paycheck, and they were all covered under her employer-sponsored health insurance plan because her husband worked freelance without benefits. We called her employer and urged them to reconsider their decision to deny her health care coverage during her pregnancy disability leave, but they refused. Her employer took the position that they were not legally obligated to provide her health benefits during this time. This woman faced tremendous hardship in attending to her high-risk pregnancy on the one hand, and on the other hand, stressing out about the out-of-pocket costs she would have to incur to get alternative health insurance coverage for herself and her new baby when they needed it the most. SB 299 would provide the legislative fix that is desperately needed to help this woman and the many other women who find themselves in the precarious position of being on pregnancy disability leave with the added and dealing with the added stress of having to finance the high cost of health insurance at a very critical time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And okay, the bill's been moved. Is there a second? The bill's been moved and seconded. That means we only need this much more time. Okay, and statement in support.
Mary Weiberg, Commission on the Status of Women. We are proud to co-sponsor this bill and urge your support.
And names of organizations that are in support. Great.
Sorry, we have one more person to offer testimony, or
no more speaking.
No more speaking.
Just give your name and where you're from.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Sylvia Gendelman, professor at the School of Public Health at the University of California, Berkeley, and chair of the Maternal and Child Health Program. I've done considerable research on the health effects of maternity leave, and I am here to offer any of the scientific evidence that we have in case you're interested.
Okay, and we'll see if there's some opposition, and we'll call you right back up.
Charlotte Newhart with the American Association of University Women, and also with the Directors of Maternal, Child, and Adolescent Health in the counties in strong support.
Thank you.
Elena Perez with the California National Organization for Women in support for the reasons so admirably stated.
Tom Riley with the California Academy of Family Physicians in support.
Thank you.
Ryan Spencer with the California Medical Association in support.
Mitch Seaman, California Labor Federation, also in support.
Any other questions by the committee? You may give us a short close, or you may ask your learned colleague to give a short close. Would you like to close on the bill while we should vote for the bill?
She's going to close on the bill with some information on the scientific evidence.
Right.
So, what are the rules? How much time do I have?
Just a couple of minutes.
Couple of minutes. Okay, I'll try. So I believe that SB 299, the way it is written, would accomplish three things. First, it would incentivize pregnant and recovering mothers to keep their jobs rather than quit their jobs. And this is based on information from my own research. And thereby you would be preventing unemployment. Second, it would reduce the burden on public insurance. And third, and perhaps most importantly, is that it would support mothers in the decision to take maternity leave, which is not an easy decision and that not many mothers are doing these days. Research indicates that maternity leave helps to promote and protect maternal, infant, and fetal health, and also reduces costly adverse health outcomes not only to mothers, infants, and families, but also to the medical care system. And so it follows that employers could save some money on medical costs if they were to provide continued health insurance. So let me briefly explain what research evidence indicates in terms of maternity leave. Maternity leave that is taken prior to childbirth, that is prenatal maternity leave, perhaps by reducing stress and fatigue and increasing tolerance for pain, has been shown to reduce obstetric complications during labor and delivery. My own research of full-time working mothers in Southern California found that women who took prenatal maternity leave in the last month, that is in the 9th month of pregnancy, had a 4-fold reduced odds of primary C-section. And primary C-sections are very expensive. Leave taken prior to childbirth, or prenatal maternity leave again, also has benefits for the infants. We find that women who take prenatal leave have lower rates of preterm deliveries, low birth weight is lower, and perinatal mortality is lower, especially if that leave is paid. And in California, since we do have STI, women can benefit from paid leave as well. In a recent study of California workers, we found that there was an increase in gestational age at delivery among women who had a lot of work strain, high work strain, and compared to women with high work strain who did not take leave. And this is important because more and more we're realizing that babies who are born at term, that babies need 39 completed weeks in the womb in order to develop healthy brains and healthy lungs.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that. I didn't see any opposition to that was here. With that, I think it's been moved and seconded. And Mr. Allen, yes.
Yeah, I'd very much like the written testimony in the record, and I'd like to get it for those, myself and other colleagues who might want to speak on this on the floor. Thank you so much for coming today.
If you could provide the written testimony, we'd appreciate it very much.
I would be happy to.
And thank you for your time and the testimony. Okay, with that,
well, I too just wanted to make a quick comment and just appreciate the witnesses' patience during this entire hearing. I know you've been waiting and you have a very important testimony to provide, given the length of the day and the fact that you're very fortunate to not have a long line of opposition. I think this is a very good bill and very delighted to support it today.
Thank you very much. Okay, with that, we'll call a roll.
Swanson.
Swanson, aye.
Swanson, aye. Morel. Morel, no. Alejo, Allen. Allen, aye. Furutani. Furutani, aye. Beth Gaines. Beth Gaines, no. Yamada. Yamada, aye. That bill is out.
Okay, that bill is passed out of the committee. So thank you very much. We have, let's see, Mr. Morrell and Assemblymember Gaines. There were two bills that you could add on to if you like, SB 575 and SB 776. I'd like to thank all the members of the committee for their patience with this very long hearing. And you stayed, and you're not even getting paid.
Sir, I didn't have patience.
Thank you very much. We'll allow you time to add on.
What was the other one I just voted on? Okay, and another one now. Thank you.
Okay, so the meeting stands adjourned.